A project. I'm gonna actually show you how to take a clean version and a dirty version and have them coexist within the same song. This is useful for when you want to make several versions of the same song. You don't want to flip back and forth between, you don't want to close your program, open the song, and open up a clean version, and close that, then open up another version. Or you don't want to have one session open and then open up another session and take up more resources. Now, to do this, obviously, it's going to require some resources, but hey, computers are fast now, so it's not really that big of a deal. But nevertheless, I have a session here already loaded for you to save time. And the program of choice for me is Nuendo. And we're here on the Mac, obviously, so please excuse any delays in processing or whatever. I'm recording the screen, so this is a bit choppy. The graphics, it may look a bit choppy only because I'm recording the screen, so it is using some of my resources. Now, here is our, this is our dirty version here.
That's what I'm working with, breaking shit in a death match.
As you can hear, that was our dirty version.
Versus demolition service, tenacious and assertive. My opponents be the first to quit. No amount of armor that they bring in is superfluous. Greetings to my haters, they be scheming, still ain't worth the piss.
So as you can hear, that is the dirty version. And the goal here, what we want to do is we want to take this version, clean it up, remove the profanities out, and then have the clean version coexist within the same exact session. Now, when I say coexist, I don't mean exist down here with these. I mean exist on the same exact tracks. That way you don't have to change automation data. You don't have to try to bring in tracks. Now with Nuendo, you can just say copy the track and you can drag the track over, but there's an issue with underlying automation. Sometimes the automation does not actually copy over properly. Then you'll have to go back and adjust automation. The way we do it here, it's quite simple. All you're doing is replacing these parts. Now, obviously, for time's sake, I've already cleaned the song. I've already made a clean version of this song, and we'll pull up that version here, and we'll load this version here, and we'll launch it. We'll activate it. You get a nice beach ball. Boing boing. This is really fast without me recording the screen. This loads like super quick. But because I'm recording the screen, and then I'm recording, like, I have a 27-inch display, so go figure, it's recording 27 inches. Full screen and sound. So nevertheless, well, it's recording the output of my monitor, so it's not that great quality. When I get a mixing console, I'll redo this, make a better tutorial, and it'll sonically sound like you would expect. This is just my little test. But nevertheless, now we're in this should be the clean version now, where there's no profanities.
When I'm working with breaking in a death match, my opponents be the first to quit. No amount of armor that they bring in is superfluous. Greetings to my haters, they be scheming, still ain't worth it.
And as you can hear, the profanities was gone. Now what we do to make this thing work is we take these parts here, right? We have this session here, and we're going to take these parts, and since they're already cleaned up, I already spent the time to make this version. I'm just going to shade all these parts here, like so. I'm going to grab this range tool, and I'll just go from the end of the project all the way to the beginning, and all the way here. Make sure I just got this track selected. And then basically I'll just right click, and I'll go to an audio selection and then choose bounce selection. What that's going to do is that's going to give me waveforms from beginning to end. Hey, there's my iPhone. That's going to give me waveforms from beginning to end on every file, on every track, without having any parts, without having any gaps. And I'll say replace, And then what this is going to do is it's going to tell the pool to replace and use these parts instead in the pool, and it will take the underlying parts, and it may not send them to the trash. It's going to still hold them, but it's just basically going to say replace those in the pool. Use these instead of referring to the pool will point to these. It'll also point to the others. So, and I guess it really means just on the screen, do you want to replace what you see and use those parts? Because if you don't choose replace, it'll just put it in the pool, but it won't come on screen. If you say replace, it'll actually pop on screen and they'll sit over top. So it'll just use like so. Now what happens is you have all these waveforms here, and then essentially what we do here is we just scoot this over here since we have this in the background. And then now what we can do is we can take these tracks here. Oops, I didn't want to go to an editor. Now what happens is we can take these tracks here, these parts, they're all selected. As you can see, they're all selected. And we can basically just drag all of these over here to this window. And I'll just go there. And then what happens is it goes here. Now you say, hey, look, what's messed up? Nah, it's just not completely over there, that's all. You just have to make sure it nudges all the way over. Now that it's completely over, now what you have is you end up with a clean session, and let's activate this project. Now typically, once again, this would be extra fast if I wasn't recording the screen. This would be blazing. But because I'm recording the screen, it's kind of slow. Now what you have here is, now basically, let's actually, now since we have this session here, we can actually go back. Let's go back to this other window here. Let's go back to this project. And let's say, let's just get rid of this. We can actually activate this project here. And then what I want to do with this is just going to help me free up some resources. But nevertheless, as you can see, these parts now is over here in this session, which is essentially was originally the dirty version, but we've added these clean edits over here. They're the same sessions, the same mix. The mixes are the same mixer settings, same automation data, everything's the same. All you did was make the edits on the regions. So now what we're going to do is say undo, and we'll get back to that. And then we can actually even close that section out. We can add say don't save, because we don't need him anymore. So now we're here. Now we can free up some resources. And we can load up this session. And now what happens is you have a clean and dirty mix within the same session. And then what happens with that is, let's say, is that muted by accident? Yeah, why was he muted? Oops, unmute you, man. Now basically you have your clean version here, as you can see. As you can hear, there's no profanities. And if you actually want the dirty version back, you say, well, what if I need to get my dirty version back, or I just want to hear it back again? Well, all you do is just mute this, just mute the part. That's all you do, mute it, because the original explicit track is simply underneath this part here, and this essentially works the same exact way on every track. And there it is. This is the one that sits on top, that's green. When you collapse this hide view back to normal view, then whatever's on top is the one that plays. Whatever's, and if you mute whatever's on top, whatever's underneath that will actually be the one that plays. So essentially you get the concept. So basically that's it. Now you have the dirty version and clean version existing in the same session on the same set of tracks using the same mixing board without taking up extra tracks. And that is how we do it, man. So, hey, let's do this. Let's go back. Lanes off. Well, if it ever wants to do it. Lanes off, and hey, we'll just play it back. But this is pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I know it's terrible quality. I'm sorry. I'm an engineer and I got poor quality. Hey, I just didn't plug up a mixing board. I'm on this new Mac, just goofing off with it. So I'll actually pull up a mixing board to it and route it the proper way so you can hear me better next time. All right, thanks guys, and I'm out.
I hear them talking about they riches and they running in. I ain't haven't seen them with the places they ain't never been. Did this as a kid and still I sunned a lot of grown men. Blunt trauma from my flow turned beast to slow jams, no sleep. For many they heard that I was murderous on instrumentals. My verse is demolition service, tenacious and assertive. I'm about to close the curtain.